Other interesting business news, you have Ford to copy Toyota's path to EVs from EVs rather to going to hybrids. They're copying the path. That pun is moderately intended. Now, this comes to us thanks to Electrek, and a couple months ago, every company in the planet was pushing EVs. And don't get me wrong, there are still many, though the startup EV community, they're going out of business left and right, like Lordstown Motors and Lucid and Rivian have both had to raise billions of dollars in additional funding because they're running out of cash. But nevertheless, there's still a lot of EV companies out there. Now, a lot of these companies decided to go all in. I mean, General Motors, under Mary Barra's leadership, they still think it's a good idea to have Cadillac be full EV by 2030 and full GM fleet, which includes Chevrolet, Cadillac, GMC, as well as Buick, full EV by 2035. That's their business model and idea. Will they succeed? Time shall tell. No topic for another time, perhaps. But in terms of what the consumers want, no, that's not what they want. Granted, unfortunately, we have so much government regulation that kind of pushes these companies to do different things. But nevertheless, when it comes to the consumer adoption rate, EVs are dropping precipitously. People are buying them, but the rate is decreasing. And the category that more Americans are starting to research and starting to be open to buying is the hybrid technologies. And again, Toyota, one of the most successful automotive companies in history, they're the ones that make vehicles that last 1,000,000 miles or a quarter of a century or longer. They're very good at long-term planning. And when everyone was going full EV, they decided to invest, I believe it's 8.2, several billion dollars into technologies that were specific for hybrid technologies. And truth be told, they read the room right. That's where the market is going currently in terms of the biggest adoption rate that people are interested in. And it looks like Ford is putting the brake on their EV for a little while. They had many production errors or issues with the Ford F-150 Lightning last year where they had batteries exploding. That's not great. And as well as running out of battery in the middle of nowhere. So they had many issues in 2023. And it sounds like they actually were trying to build 3 EV battery plants in the United States. And then Ford's, they're kind of they decreased that production output by about 40%. So they're going to build the plants, but not to the original output that they originally scaled for. So they're scaling back in many ways. Now, again, getting back to the article, this comes to us thanks to Peter Johnson over at Electrek, which I was going to say, pretty A+ for marketing. You know exactly what the website's about. Now, they note that Ford specifically, they did hit a new record. They sold 8,958 electric vehicles sold in November. The automaker is still scaling back. They claim that they sold more F-150 Lightning models last month, 4,393, than did in the entire third quarter, which they only sold 3,503. Granted, that's, again, not that overly impressive because they had the production issues where they actually had to stop production period for several weeks. Now, despite this, Ford CEO Jim Farley explained on the company's Q3 earnings call that he's, quote, so thankful that we've kept our foot on the has to freshen our ICE and HEV products as we enter a changing market. Farley added that Ford Blue, aka the part of Ford that makes money, that's the part that has the good old things you and I know and love, like the Ford Mustang, which thankfully still comes with 3 pedals and manual transmission, as every vehicle should by default. But you have the Ford Mustang, you have the F-150 pickup, you have all of the internal combustion engine vehicles. So right now, again, EV companies lose money for quite some time. Eventually, you get that break-even point. Ideally, then you make money. Now, Ford CEO Jim Farley said, quote, their ICE business will be strong and a growing business for years to come, unquote. Then Ford, quote, remains, quote, bullish on Model E and our EV future. The market, however, is a moving target. So Ford recently scaled back several ET initiatives. The company's CFO, John Lawler, audited that Ford is, quote, slowing down several investments, unquote, including a $12 billion in EV spending. So talk about putting the brakes, and they are not regenerative brakes. Da-dum-chum. Pun moderately intended. Now, Lawler reiterated that stance last month at the 2023 Barclays Global Automotive and Mobility Conference. He said the company, quote, is not changing its strategy, but rather changing the pace and flow of capital and capacity put in place. So, as almost like a politician, we're not changing our strategy. We're just putting money towards different things and making different products. But we're not changing. So it sounds like they want the best of both worlds. They want to have the marketing allure of an EV company, which some people do really highly respect and appreciate. I don't think they could calculate an ROI though, unfortunately, or the environmental impact of those lithium mines. But nevertheless, a lot of people do appreciate the technologies. And then they also want to make a profit and also reinvest in things that do make them money. Now, they also continue to say this includes cutting back on plant production at the Marshall plant by about half, reducing the inverter and motor capacity and pulling back on vertical integration plans. Ford's financial leader said that the company will lean into hybrids as a quote-unquote bridge to EVs, which, again, that mirrors exactly what Toyota is doing. So it'll be interesting to see if they're actually able to make a profit on the EV division in 2024. Again, the losses are in the billions, but in the aggregate, you could spread that out, and eventually you'll make a profit in theory. Let me know, do you think the government mandates are forcing them to do a lot of this, of course. But I wonder, will Ford be able to make it to become an EV company, even if it's not what the people want? Let me know, would you ever buy a Ford, an F-150 Lightning? So you're getting a truck that can't tow, but it is electric. And articles say you could charge your house with it. Now, I don't know how you're going to charge the truck if you deplete that. Especially because in California, they're banning gasoline-powered generators, and they can't power their own grid. But nevertheless, fascinating to purchase, I suppose. Let me know. Be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, again, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January. So if you click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback and how I can make the show better and better and better. Also, lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.